Hello, it's Stuart, the Unrepentant Atheist. I've got an interesting one here. It's quite short. This video won't be more than about 3 minutes long. So there's Michael calling in from Canada to Matt Dillahunty and John, and he's talking about the relationship between religion and mental health. And let's listen to what he's got to say, because something quite interesting comes out of it.
Regardless of what you went through, basically Jesus went through worse. So
yeah, that's kind of shitty.
A lot of a lot of.
I tell you what, and I've said this before. Given the description of what happened to Jesus, I'll take that.
It wasn't that bad.
I will go through exactly what Jesus went through, and I want you don't have to do too much. You don't let's just end hunger in the world. I would go through what Jesus, not to save everybody forever or anything else. Put me through what Jesus went through to end hunger in the world, and I'll do that even without getting to be God at the end of the weekend.
Now, that's interesting. Do you think that Matt is serious about that? That he would be prepared? After all, what happened to Jesus in the Gospels? John said it wasn't that bad. Really? Has John read the Gospels? Has he read the Passion? As far as I remember, Jesus was convicted by Pontius Pilate. He was then flogged brutally, or at least I assume he was flogged brutally. He had a crown of thorns pressed onto his head, very painful. Obviously would have been, made his head bleed and everything. And then he had to drag his cross through the streets of Jerusalem to the crucifixion site, where the cross was laid down. He was laid on the cross, and large nails were driven through his palms into the wood of the cross and through his feet as well, in order that his body could be supported. I imagine that with his body being supported by his hands, which had nails driven through them, that probably would have been quite painful. I would imagine that most people that went through that would have been absolutely screaming their heads off, or they probably, with the pain, would have passed out, possibly never to wake again. But it strikes me that crucifixion was quite a brutal kind of execution. So, that John seems to be saying it was, it's no big deal what happened to him, and Matt's saying, I'll take that. Now, I know that Matt's read the Bible well. He obviously understands what actually happened to Jesus according to the stories. So I asked myself the question, he's prepared to do that and not be resurrected. In other words, he's prepared to die in brutal circumstances in order to put an end to world hunger. I think that's very commendable. I have to ask myself the same question. Faced with that opportunity, giving up my life here and now, not some kind of hypothetical thing, if, I don't know, if some kind of genie suddenly appeared in front of me and, with a sword and said that he's going to chop my head off. In other words, a fast death, not a slow, painful one like the sort of thing that Matt is talking about. And he promises, and I believe them as well, that world hunger would come to an end. Would I take that? Somehow it doesn't really appeal to me. I mean, I can see that it would be a benefit to humankind and that I would save countless millions of lives by sacrificing my own. But I can't really say for certain whether I would be prepared to make that sacrifice. Sitting here now, the thought of sort of losing my own life in order to save millions of people who are going to be hungry and who are hungry, people that I don't even know, I'm not really sure whether I would actually be prepared to do it. Quite possibly, I wouldn't be prepared to do it. So, I mean, look, I've got spare money in the bank account. I'm not even prepared to spend a few hundred saving, 20 lives a year in Africa. So I can't really see me being prepared to have my head lopped off in order to save millions of the world's hungry over the next several millennia. I don't know. That's a very, very tough one. I suppose it should make me feel rotten about myself that I haven't got the same moral virtues that Matt has got. But I wonder whether his boast in the studio that he'd be prepared to do that in actual fact would come into reality if he was in that situation. I do kind of suspect that at the flogging stage, his resolve would sort of start to, if they said to him, "Are you sure you want to go through with it?" After the first few lashes, he might well be thinking twice about it, or at least when they put the nail on his palm and they're about to drive a nail into the wood, that might sort of break his resolve a little, and he might change his mind. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Would you be prepared to do it? I'd be very interested to know how you would actually do that. I can say the only thing I know for certain is the only person I would be prepared in this life to give my life for is probably only my son and nobody else, regardless of numbers of people saved. I can't think of any other circumstances under which I would be prepared to sacrifice my life, unless I knew I was going to die anyway. There was a South Korean film that I watched about somebody who was working in there was a nuclear accident, and there was a worker there. He'd gone in to try and, I don't know, shut off a valve or something, and he got trapped. And the thing is, he was going to die anyway. You know, I mean, whatever happened. I mean, either he was going to die anyway on his own and manage to turn the valve off and save the Korean people, or he was going to die and all the Koreans were going to die as well. So naturally, in that situation, he decided to sacrifice his life. I mean, he was going to die anyway. In that kind of situation, of course, I would turn the valve off too. But apart from that, obviously, I put quite a high value on my life. I don't believe there's anything in this life after, no matter how virtuously I behave and how many people I save. But I can't honestly see myself being prepared to sacrifice my life to end world hunger. I suppose I'm going to be condemned for that, and Matt is going to be put on a pedestal. Well, there's nothing I can do about that. Unfortunately, I've told you what the truth is for me, and Matt will most likely never be in a situation where he's got to prove the truth of his words. So, but I would be very interested to know what your opinion is. And despite the fact that I've made that admission, I do hope that you will continue to watch my channel. Thank you very much. I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye for now.